Welcome back to Chasing News. I'm Bill Spadia. In a little bit, we're going to talk about Jose. You think you had storm fatigue? Irma, Harvey, wait till you see what Jose could be bringing to our region. But first, I want to talk about the town of Mahwah. It's a town in New Jersey on the New York state line, and they are considering an ordinance that would ban door knocking. Some are saying that this is anti-Semitic. It's designed to stop Orthodox Jews from knocking on doors and trying to buy your house. We're going to bring in the mayor of Mahwah. I want to hear it directly from the politicians involved. I want you to welcome Mayor Bill Laforet. Mayor, how are you? Welcome to Chasing News.
Hey, how is everyone?
Good. So can I ask you something, Mr. Mayor? How big of a problem is the door knocking that the council needs to consider an ordinance? And what do you say to the charge of anti-Semitism?
Well, listen, first of all, let us be very honest here that, you know, the question you're asking is why are we doing this? We have no history of any objections by residents about people banging on their doors. No reports at the police department. So it's a very good question as to why we choose now to implement an ordinance like this.
So are you going to push back on this? Have you made public statements? Are you telling the council what are you thinking? And do you agree with some of the accusations that this is really laced with anti-Semitism?
Well, yeah, I do want to say, what are you thinking? We actually have 2 subpoenas from the Attorney General pending civil rights violations from the Hasidic community. We have a lot to deal with. So why in your wildest imagination will we try to implement an ordinance that even has the smell of exclusionary?
Can I ask you a question? What do you think, though, Mayor, about the folks that are saying, look, we have a right to protect our neighborhood. We don't want to have this constant solicitation. And there is some valid fear of people saying, hey, there's a group of people trying to overtly change the character of our neighborhood that is pretty diverse right now. What do you think?
Well, you're speaking about the fear. Listen, the fear is, you know, the reports we hear about Lakewood and Muncie and Curious Joel in New York. It's documented, reported in the media, fear about a way of life that is much different than ours. That's not based in bias or race or religion. That is an understandable fear the community has.
All right, Mayor Laforet, thank you for joining me tonight. Appreciate it.
All right, thank you.
I want to bring in our A-plus panel. Let's bring them back. We've got Archange Antoine, the Executive Director for Faith in New Jersey. Thanks for sticking with me.
Thank you.
And Laura Nanos, thank you. You're a columnist at lawnews.com. Good to have you here. And Wayne Smith, former mayor of Irvington. Wayne, I'm going to start with you again. You're a mayor. You heard the mayor. Does he have valid concerns, or is this the right of the people in a local community to say, hey, leave me alone?
Well, I'll say this for the mayor. He's got a pickle going. But under the Faulkner form of government in New Jersey, if what he said is correct, he's a strong mayor. So he has the power to veto no matter what the city council do, and they would have to come back and overturn his veto. So we'll see what he does if this ordinance passes.
Laura, from a legal standpoint, I mean, if some of the fears are well-founded, I doubt very much that every person wanting to stop solicitation at their door is anti-Semitic.
Yeah, I doubt it a lot. I don't like people on my doorstep. I don't want anybody asking me for money. So I understand that it is a very real problem, just in the way it was with telemarketers. So, you know, I think that there is a serious foundation there to look at. But on the other hand, I will say this. It gives me concern to hear the mayor said that there haven't been any formal complaints about this. That makes me wonder if this is a solution in search of a problem.
Archange, what do you think? I mean, you've got a faith-based organization that you're the head of. You know, does this really make you a little uncomfortable? We're talking about Orthodox Jews. We're talking about people making comparisons to Lakewood. And I've said this before on this show. They're painting with an awfully broad brush when they start pointing the finger at the Orthodox Jewish community as if they're all part of the problem.
Absolutely. I think the mayor, based on what he said, I think it raises some alerts with me because he has concerns, and also he talks about the history of the township. And so what I want to say is I think the council just has to take the responsibility and the leadership to ensure the Jewish community and all religious communities that no policy should target them. I think they should make sure they make an addendum to make sure that no religious institutions or rights will be violated, and then they can move forward with any other form of solicitation.
Wait, let me ask you, what if this were happening in Irvington? I mean, at this point with our tax situation, I can't believe anybody actually wants to move into New Jersey, but let's say they do. How would you have handled this as mayor?
Well, I think, one, how do you talk to your residents about fundamental fairness, because you got to be fun. And that's, you know, the free market is the free market. People have the right to try to come and buy your property. Now, how do you approach them is the issue. So I agree with Councilor says, if you say there's no complaints, then somebody's complaining, because the city council wouldn't be proposing an ordinance. So my sense, I would
could be the politicians starting this whole thing.
Yeah,
I think what
but
you said,
but
a
the mayor
solution
has
in search of
veto
a problem.
power. He has veto power. So
we're going to see how. I got to leave it here. Always good to see you. Thank you, guys. Thanks for joining me today. Appreciate your thoughts and your interaction. Have a great weekend.